first of all, we should explain your last name. There are family ties between you and the current regime. Tell us about that.
Yes, of course. I'm Bashar's first cousin. I was exiled from Syria in 1984 when my father had a disagreement with President Al Assad about the way that he was running Syria. My father was more pro-democracy in Syria. He had the only outlet, which was the Al Fursan magazine, calling for democracy, and why democracy was very important for a country like Syria and for the region.
But there's also controversy surrounding your father as well when it comes to the situation in Hama.
Yes, of course, a lot of people have, the regime after my father's left, wanted to blame my father for everything. They blamed him for corruption, they blamed him for Hama incident, they blamed him for many other things. And I've repeatedly said, and my father has actually just said in his meeting in Paris 2 days ago, that his troops never went into Hama because his troops were responsible for the protection of Damascus. At the time, there wasn't any presidential guard as you have today. So his troops were responsible for the protection of Damascus, and as you know, there was the Israeli invasion of Lebanon at the time. There was also the Muslim Brotherhood who were attacking military and non-military in Syria. So it wouldn't have been logical to send his troops, which had to defend the capital, send them 200 kilometers outside of Damascus, while you had the Israeli troops who were very close to your borders in Lebanon.
That said, you're also both you and your father are still very vocal against the current regime, against Bashar al-Assad. Yes. You're calling for him to step down? We have
never stopped. We have, as you know, the Arab News Network. It was the first television channel calling for democracy in the Middle East. We started in 1997, and we have never stopped. They tried to jam our television channel in 2009. For 3 months, we were going to close down because we weren't able to go on air. And this is when I started the Organization for Democracy and Freedom in Syria to show that they will not be able to shut us down.
The concern within Syria right now is that there doesn't seem to be a real cohesive opposition. So everyone's calling for Bashar al-Assad to step down, that may be, but then who would take over?
That's, again, another problem. There's a huge problem with the opposition and a lot of people in Syria, I mean, people who are not happy with the dictatorship, but who also do not want to see a dictatorship replaced by theocracy. For example, we have all seen what happened last week in Cairo when members of the internal opposition, the domestic opposition, were going to meet the Arab League, and members of the SNC, or representative of the SNC, attacked them with eggs and tomatoes and stone and threw punches at them. Well, this is not the democracy we are looking for. And everybody, generals in Syria are looking at that. The people in Syria, what we call the silent majority, is looking at that and is like, well, these people are doing that and they're abroad. What would they have done to those people, just for disagreeing with them on the dialogue issue? What would they have done to them if they were in Syria? Would they have shot at them?
Despite being at the other end of the political spectrum, then, as you say that you are when it comes to Bashar al-Assad, do you rule out another al-Assad taking over power, or even wanting to fight for power there?
Nothing really. Nobody's looking for power there. We are looking for a smooth transition.
Are you looking to be part of the transition?
No, not at all. My role what I've been trying to do is trying to call for all opposition people to be unified, to sit together, to show the people in Syria that everybody will be inclusive in the next government, in any transitional government.
So you and your father, you want to be a part of the transitional government?
No, not at all. I mean, I told you. I mean, my father could speak for himself. For myself, this is the only thing that I'm looking for, is trying to help unify this opposition, trying to have dialogue, because we are getting at a very, a peculiar and very dangerous situation in the Middle East, not only in Syria, in the whole Middle East, and people are not able to see that. Why dialogue is important, and we still have to try diplomacy. The international community and the Arab League still have to try diplomacy with Syria. We know that this regime is, it's impossible to deal with. We know that they have been using repression, but we have to try our best, because we are heading towards a civil war in Syria, and the civil war is going to lead to a regional war. As you know, Iran have threatened, Ayatollah Khomeini, the supreme leader of Iran, have threatened that they will attack if there's any attack at them last week, and they will attack with the iron fist. The leader of Hezbollah, Hassan Nasrallah, said the same thing. If Iran or Syria is attacked, we are gonna respond harshly. They have groups like Hamas, Sadr militias, and many other groups in the regions who will not let the Syrian regime fall. And we have to understand that.
So then what kind of weight do you have then against powerful regimes in in Iran,
yes,
that are fighting for Syria?
The only thing that we have is Syrians themselves, people to convince people in the military, in all societies in Syria, members of all sects, all religions, all ethnicities, that they will be all included in the next government. That a next government will not be a theocracy, that a next government will secure their position, will secure, for example, you hear a lot in the opposition people saying, oh, the Ba'athist regime or the Alawite regime. This is wrong. When you talk this way, this is completely wrong. You have 2 million Ba'athists in Syria. It's like telling them, well, you are losing, you're going to lose your jobs. And we all seen what happened in Iraq. You also have, when they say the Alawite regime, well, you have 15% of the population in Syria. It's like you're blaming them for everything, which is not true. All those people have suffered under that regime, and next regime should be an all-inclusive one.